Welcome on in everybody to another Pick Your Poison tournament cast. This event is organized by Daniela, Comey, and further talented folks. So I want to give another huge shout out to them for making all of this happen. For this one, we're looking at Group H for a change. And this is going to be the matchup between Beige and SilverPython. Let's check out first things first, the draft between these two guys, shall we? That is always a good point to start off with. So what do we have here? First game is going to be on Islands, that is the neutral map. Beige's home map will then be Nomad, and Python's home map would be Golden Swamp. We can see the Sis that have been chosen here. A lot of familiar faces here actually. Sicilians, Byzantines. Those are some Sis that we've seen multiple times already, but also some less frequent ones here. For example, well, the Ethiopians, for example, stand out to me. Therefore, yeah, let's check out how it actually plays out, right? We can get right into the game as far as I'm concerned. Game 1, as we can see, is Islands, and the matchup there is going to be Magyars versus Byzantines. So, let's check this one out. There we go. Alright, as you guys can see, Beige is the 15th seed in this group, so he's in a tough round 1 matchup against the 2nd seed over here, called SilverPython. The matchup is, of course, again, very interesting since we're on islands here, but remember, these guys could not choose their own civilizations for this map. Therefore, we've got a bit of a curious matchup at our hands. Magyars on islands, not the most frequent one we tend to see. I myself had theorized about what to do with Magyars on this map, but I don't think I ever actually was forced to play as them here. Interesting to see what Beige will try to do here. Well, since it's islands in the early game is as always a little bit slower, we can check out the Civ bonuses first. For the Magyars, it's pretty classic Civ. Most of us are aware they get the attack upgrades for melee units for free in the blacksmith, which is a pretty big bonus. In addition to that, of course, they produce a scout cavalry line way cheaper, and thus they are a classic scout rush Civ, which is rather difficult to play to pull off on this map rather. So we'll see if Beige is gonna try to get creative and aggressive early on. But that is the standard play for open maps as Magyars. Other than that, of course, they're pretty good cavalry archers, because the recurve bow attack is pretty nice. They get that one range and attack, which is honestly pretty big. And other than that, they have Magyar Hussar, which are a decent unit, but don't always come into play. Then, of course, we've got on the right-hand side over here the Byzantines, and we've seen them quite a few times already in the event, so I think most of us are familiar at this point. Tankier buildings, cheaper trash units and camels. They have the faster firing fire ships, which is pretty good on this map. I would say, especially when you're getting into naval fights over the fishing economy, there are few bonuses that are more effective than that. So, could be pretty massive, especially in those small scale skirmishes. Let's see then if SilverPython is going to be able to make use of that. Other than that, Cataphract's something I'm not necessarily expecting here. The free town watch and town patrol upgrades are also pretty good if you're scared of a landing, of an invasion, which you might be against the Magyars. Maybe you could put up just a few houses or outposts along the coastline, and you cover a lot of ground with that, since you get those town center vision upgrades for free. I think that's pretty much everything supposed that we should say about this Civ. Of course, the cheaper advance to Imperial Age helps out every game as well. Pretty effective bonus that just, as I said, in every game that comes into play. So it is not to be underestimated. Now, however, let's check out how these guys are going to approach the early game. Right out the gate, we have Beige dropping a backward harbor or dock, whereas the Byzantines here, SilverPython, has chosen the front. Not only is that closer to him, well, actually he could have just also chosen backward stock, but he made it a point to go forward, presumably because he's confident in his ability to win the naval war, so to speak. It is to be noted that as the higher seed, which SilverPython is, hello in chat by the way, I just noticed you there as well, SilverPython, good to see you. Being the higher seed, I noticed this myself in the 2 rounds that I've played already, you get a huge advantage in the map draft, as far as I'm concerned. Because you get to pick your home map, of course, but you also get to control essentially which map gets played first. I think that is the way better position when drafting maps. So at least, yeah, I think there's one exploit that you could do if you're the lower seed that is pretty effective, but I don't think people have figured that out so far, or at least they haven't theorized in that direction. Other than that, I think being the higher seed is very beneficial for drafting the maps. And thus, despite this not being SilverPython's home map, he did indirectly elect to play this one first. So I'm sure he's quite confident in getting the Byzantines. It could definitely have been worse. Just, yeah, to put it mildly. He's going, as I said, for the front dog with the fish, and already up to feudal age, whereas Beige is actually putting in loom before going up to feudal. I wonder if that's actually a good choice. I think even if you had a little bit of idle TC time, it might have been worth to just, yeah, take that on the chin and then go up to feudal age as soon as possible. Especially when you're planning to contest the water, that could be, those couple of seconds could make the difference. It doesn't look like Beige is intending on doing a lot of fighting on the water though, with the back dock. Also not investing super heavily, just 4 fishing ships, maybe realizing that sooner or later that fish is going to be given up. Oh, we've got a French client here, that is interesting. Wonder which of these 2 guys was hosting or was French, at least francophone. Either way, 3 fishing ships only from SilverPython is a bit surprising to me. We get the first fire galley coming out now. I feel like if you're confident in winning the naval, you could go for some more fishing ship in the Dark Age. Only counterpoint would be in cases where you need the wood for some special plans in the feudal age, and going for the second dock, maybe he just wanted to save up some wood. Could understand that, but this is a SilverPython making absolutely sure that they're winning the early feudal naval war. 2 fire ships, production out of 2 docks. Oh, they're getting 2 more even. So they're really trying to see, okay, what is the situation like on water earlier? Is Beige going for going to contest the water? Where are his docks? And so this is SilverPython scouting around, trying to find out what Beige might be up to. Sadly, he's not going to find any docks for a while, since Beige with his second dock has also chosen a very remote location. In terms of military, of course, we're still pretty limited, but we see that Beige is actually going for galleys. So that is an interesting play, and I think it's the right option. You're not going to win in a heads-up fire versus fire fight with the Byzantines, so galleys tend to perform incredibly well against fire galleys in bigger numbers, and once a few upgrades are in maybe. So if you can get fletching sometime soon, that could also be very effective. See a few idles here for a second, and overall the idle TC time, SilverPython with a very clean build so far, whereas Beige has been idle for about 1.5 minutes already, and you can see the eco difference even beyond just the fishing ships, which actually Beige still has the lead on, for the time being at least. We have more eco for SilverPython already, just because of the loom and the idle TC time, I would wager. And we see the first skirmish down here, where one of those fire ships has finally found a galley. No hit and run micro coming out from Beige results in this being a horrible trade for him. Oh, that's massive for SilverPython. This is the entire army of Beige being wiped out by one single fire ship. Oh boy, this is absolutely terrible as an early game start. You're losing 3/4 of the navy that you've built up against one single ship of the enemy, and you don't even get to take it down. Poor Beige must not have paid attention down there, and now the fire ships from the back even arriving at his fishing ships. Triple dock production there from SilverPython. So even if Beige still somehow try to contest the water, SilverPython could easily ramp that production back up, and still does. SilverPython making 110% sure that this water does not get out of control, even despite the fact that, which of course Python doesn't know, Beige doesn't even have any warships on the map anymore. So this is a massive early victory here. A bit of an overinvestment in Navy for SilverPython. Of course, they can't know what Beige has. So Beige might get to Castle Age quicker, doesn't have the second building up just yet, and thus we're gonna get very similar Castle Age times actually. Poor Beige. They might have been able to capitalize on this if, yeah, as I said, the Castle Age had come in a little bit quicker, but it's taking a while, and still the town center idle. It looks like Beige is quite stressed currently. What's going on here? Clearly he must have thought that Castle Age has already been clicked. Oh, this is so curious to me. What's going on here? The villages are idle. Town center is idle. Oh boy, yeah, it's just absolutely disastrous. On the other side, yeah, SilverPython. I'm just wondering what could be happening here. I don't know if Beige disconnected or something. I've never personally seen anything like that. Oh, it's rough. It's rough. Now Beige redistributing a bunch of these villagers. Only 4 on food currently. Has clicked up to Castle Age, but that was like a solid 30 seconds of kind of inaction, I think. Maybe I missed something going on there. Either way, Beige now transitioning to a barracks. Wonder what the plan is there. So far, no landing coming in from SilverPython. Still, with the 12 fishing ships that they're gonna have pretty soon, this is a massive eco lead. On top of, again, the villager lead that they also have due to the idle TC time here. Yeah, I really wonder what actually went on there, but Beige now fully having lost the water, no, not even a dock remaining, and all those fire galleys patrolling around the island, making it actually impossible to even sneak out a transport on over there, which Beige is, I guess, trying to go for some desperation heave here with the triple stable, just, I don't know, trying to put up a stable in the front, but as soon as this has been spotted, it's going to be taken out. Almost confident in that. I mean, the dock is gonna go up for a while, but then maybe just trying to force out a transport and try to do any damage it can to the opponent's eco. You've already been spotted, so there's no chance this transport gets on over there without being seen. And here are the Castle Ages for both of these players, exactly identical timings there. So this is gonna be really good. Well, for SilverPython, because they have now figured out where that dock went up, and I don't think there's any angles left for Beige, honestly. That was just absolutely disheartening early game there. It's islands though, I feel it so hard, yeah. You're up against a player, it's already rated higher than yourself, and they've got the better water civilization, and they do so much damage early on here. Beige may be busy moderating Daniela's Twitch chat at the same time. Poor guy. I could understand that. And that dock already pretty much down again. Maybe trying to find another spot to sneak up a dock. I don't see it currently. Looks like no, yeah, let's get the bird's eye view here of everything. No, there's nothing going on. And thus I wonder, Beige has still not made any additional units. Put up 3 of those stables, probably realized then that there's no chance of getting anything on over. Maybe also just preemptive stables in case SilverPython brought anything over. That we can't know. But everything's been running so smoothly for Python. Still not more than 1.5 minutes of idle TC time, despite being on 3 town centers. 22 fishing, or well, food villages and fishing ships combined makes this very easy to operate. And Beige calls the GG, sees the score cap primarily, I assume. And that was one dominant game one here. It just went south from the very get-go here for Beige. And we have to see if they can bounce back on their home map. That was a pretty quick one here for game one, so let's check in just real quick. Well, I guess let's look at the stats. Maybe there's something interesting there. It's just, whenever there's blowout games like this one, I don't think the stats are all that interesting. Oh, I didn't even see that, but it looks like Python got Loom even earlier than Beige. Might have gotten housed there while I was still talking about Civ identities or something. Yeah, I don't think there's anything super exciting here to talk about with the stats, because we saw the game develop, right? There's nothing that nothing hidden going on as the statistics could unveil to us. So let's check out the draft once again as we transition into game 2 and see if Beige can bounce back here. So we're going to Beige's home map, which is Nomad apparently. Okay. Now the matchup there is going to be... Ooh, oh right. I can already see it here. Let me transition that over to you guys. That's what we're looking at right here. Game number 2, we're headed right into it. Beige is playing as the Sicilians against the Malians from SilverPython. And the reason I'm so intrigued by this is every single Nomad game, with the exception of one, I believe. So 3 out of the 4 Nomad games that I've casted so far in this tournament have been with the Sicilians. And the Sicilians have won the 2 previous ones, I'm pretty sure. So honestly, this is surprising to me. Why does everybody keep putting their opponents onto Sicilians for this map when the Sicilians have been performing so well in the tournament overall? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just what people prefer. Very close quarters map here. I always like to see that. Seeing people be close together in Nomad, that makes it that much more exciting. How about the docks, though? Oh, Beige isn't going for a dock. That is interesting. A 0 dock threat on Nomad. Let's see what Beige has got in his back pocket here for his home map. Remember, he got to choose this one. And now 1-0 down, needs a victory here to stay alive in the tournament. SilverPython has a bit more room for error, but of course wants to close it out right here ideally. Also not having to show any strats on their home map could be beneficial too. Now the town centers have been up and running. Beige already with 8 seconds of idle TC time again, but it's all good. We're in a decent spot here so far, and ahead in villages. Mainly just because I guess they decided to build the town center with 3 villages instead of just the regular 2 that people use on Nomad. So thus started earlier with the villager production despite the 8 seconds of idle TC. The dock, meanwhile, for SilverPython is going to start pumping out some fishing ships very soon, and thus a lead is going to start creeping up here for the Malians. Now, before this absolutely starts popping off into a fist fight, let's check out the civs again these 2 guys are using. As always, by the way, let me know if the audio balance is a bit off. If the game sounds too low or too high, you can always adjust that. Sicilians for Beige, and we've seen this a couple of times already. I like the dungeon play possibilities on this map because the resources tend to be a little bit more scattered and not all around UTC. So you can protect your own resources or deny the enemy resources heavily with dungeons in the feudal age, while the opponent has no access to such strong combat building. In case you don't know, dungeons are kind of hybrid buildings between castles and towers. They can produce units, but they're also shooting arrows, and they're a bit stronger than regular towers, but not by much. Also, thanks for the feedback. Yeah, I'm glad the audio is looking good. Always nice to hear. I'm going to be interested to see if Beige can make use of the dungeon drops here. We've seen this be very effective once, and in the second Sicilian game that I've seen on this map, there were no dungeons involved at all. We'll see what Beige's take on the meta, so to speak, is for the Sicilians. Haven't looked at their bonus. Let's now take on over to the Malians, and that is a Civ that I'm super excited about because ever since the April patch changes, that has been one of the biggest winners. I believe in the King of the Desert tournament qualifiers that are going on as we speak, they are, if not the highest win rate Civ, one of the highest. So they are definitely super effective on Arabia right now. Are a classified infantry civilization here, despite having the Farimba technology for a stronger attacking cavalry, which is pretty nuts. Other than that, though, the extra pierce armor on their barracks unit is pretty big against archer civs, especially, of course. And since archers are one of the traditional counters for infantry, that is a really good bonus to have. Other than that, they're very well known for their gold, for the extra gold that they generate off of gold miners. So far, of course, they aren't on gold just yet, but I guess sending out a villager to maybe lure a boar here, maybe just doing some scouting still, which is always a tricky thing on Nomad. This is gonna be, yeah, interesting to see what the Malians can go for here, because you have to think about what could the Sicilians hit you with, and if the dungeon push actually ends up coming in, especially since you're so close together, you need to have some sort of answer, or you need to have some resources that you can safely collect. So I'm curious to see how SilverPython is going to be playing around that. Let's check out the vision for both players, shall we? So Beige currently doesn't see a lot. Yeah, really doesn't see a whole lot. I guess probably did spot the dock here, I'm not sure. That I can't really be sure of, but I don't think has spotted the enemy TC. It should be able to see the outlines of it though, where no buildings can be erected. I think that should have been visible to Beige, but doesn't have the opponent scouted. For SilverPython, oh wow, that's a lot more vision than I would have expected. Probably did a lot of good scouting with the sheep. Saw the enemy's berries as well, so has pretty decent vision there around Beige's base. And still with the dock up and running, that is a big eco lead that is starting to creep up for SilverPython. We're 10 minutes in the game. Let's just, for the fun of it, check out the resource collected differential. Look at this, it's 700 extra res within 10 minutes. This is starting to balloon, this lead that Python has. So as long as they are able to hold on the land, the water is going to sustain them through the game and give them a near insurmountable edge. Now actually pulling the villager back home. I assume the shorefish has been collected fully. Yeah, I'll see how they play this one, but I'm most of all interested in Beige's strategy here, because not going for any docks and then walling up so defensively, that is question mark. Typically you want to wall up and kind of like a hedgehog protect yourself in a small ball when you're getting ahead, when you're booming ahead of the opponent. But this is not taking place right here. And you have Beige on their home map, no docks, and super far behind to feudal age. It's precisely because, of course, of the dock gathering rate. So I wonder really what the idea is here. It's very well possible that Beige is going to get to feudal age at roughly the same time that Python is getting to castle age. And at that point you have no advantage anymore with the dungeon drop, since the opponent can simply castle drop themselves. Oh, thanks for letting me know. I didn't take down the Malian Civ overview. Very, very thankful when people catch my production mishaps like that. I think we've seen enough of that overview now, though, despite me being super excited about those Civs, and maybe it's one that I'm going to take a look at myself, because I've never played them so far. Yeah, I'm wondering, because Beige has to have something special in mind. Having dropped off all the food, is looking to click up, I assume, but not currently doing so again. It almost seems as though Beige is a little bit distracted at all times. Now clicks up 250 of ILTC time already. it really seems like he's like modding Twitch chat at the same time or something. And that's so unfortunate because I was really looking forward to what this strat was going to be here, but now being so far behind already, with Python probably on the verge of clicking up themselves to Castle Age rather soon. I don't see the angle here. I don't see a lot being won in the feudal. Small kind of issues there with being housed for the Malians. Town Watch coming in, I guess, as a replacement. But honestly, I like Town Watch early on Nomad because that's a lot of extra vision that you might otherwise not have. So that's not a huge issue, I don't think. Out comes the market as well, so that's the first building for Feudal Age. And alright, so maybe by the time that Beige arrives in Feudal Age, SilverPython might be able to click up, although there's still the second building missing. So it's not as bad as I initially made it out to be. Oh, that's a lot of farms without having horse color though for Beige. 13 farms being constructed right now. Horse color has not come in, and we see a man-at-arm upgrade being made right now, despite no actual militias existing just yet. You're saying maybe not used to Nomad. That could be, yeah. Like this, of course, this isn't actual Nomad meta play, so but since Beige had picked this for their home map, it could very well be that they're just trying something and seeing if it works. I would have thought that maybe there was a strategy plan for this, but it's hard to tell, right? We don't know what the thought processes are. We'll see what Beige actually ended up doing here. Supplies coming out as well, so it definitely seems to be some infantry focused strategy. Blacksmith up as well, but we see Python getting close to Castle Age, and it's been nothing but smooth sailing for the second seed here. I wish my series had gone so smoothly in the first round against the 15th seed from my bracket. Can't say I performed as safe and secure, but the fishing eco obviously still untouched is just feels so good, and it looks like again Python is patrolling around the island with the ships, and probably just now realizing that wait a minute, my opponent doesn't have any fish at all, thus the immense score lead, and Beige now being restricted to this very small area of land. Lots of farms without actually horse color is in, so maybe a few of those farms had been built with horse color. Still, that's a big investment, is my point. And Castle Age in for the Malians. I feel like we're witnessing the calm before the storm here. Can't lie. Let's check once more the Malian point of view here. Yeah, the outpost providing a lot of vision too. Now sees a lot of what's going on there in Beige's village, and there's a siege workshop. So this could be a very quick game here and a very quick series. Just as a heads up, I'm going to be casting one very much higher level series after this. At least I'm intending to cast Timberhawk Mondays series after this. And then I'm going to cast a live series that's going to take place exactly 2 hours from now. Beige calls the game here. SilverPython takes the series 2-0. And yeah, this was just extremely smooth sailing for SilverPython. There's no way around it. Was just standard play, and Beige falling behind very early on. And especially the water components to both maps seem to really have cost Beige. Maybe wasn't too excited about playing those water maps, which I can 100% relate to, guys. I can't even begin to describe how much I can feel that. Yeah, not much to say. SilverPython wasn't really pushed here, so I can't really comment a lot on their play, army management, or anything. Wasn't really a lot going on that I could read into. Yeah, it's all good, SilverPython. Like the point of the tournament is not that people have to have to try to put up amazing shows. It's just people trying to play their most comfortable games and see if they can win some tournament games. So that's what I'm here for, just also showcasing how people are playing. And I've learned a lot, honestly, from casting a few games here. I can honestly say that there's one game in the tournament that I only won because of the games that I've casted and the strategies I could take from them. So it's always worthwhile. Congrats, SilverPython, for winning this one, and shout out to Beige, of course. Still actually subbed to my Twitch channel earlier today, I believe. So I was yeah, huge shout out to them as well. That's it for this series. I'll cut the YouTube video here, and I'll put the Twitch stream up right away again for the second series that I'll be casting, which will be first round matchup of Timberhawk Vandy in Group C. So stick around for that one if you're interested in that as well.